In my last video, I ranked my top 10 UFC GOATs, and let's just say opinions were divided. Some agreed, others not so much, and a few accused me of bias, which is fair. So this time, I want to take a completely different approach. I analyzed actual Vegas closing betting odds for the most successful fighters in UFC history and ranked them by their average line across their entire careers. Every fighter here has had at least 5 UFC fights, so we're looking at sustained dominance, not a few easy matchups. This isn't about who's the GOAT, it's about who statistically was the most trusted fighter to win, the one Vegas believed simply would not lose. Before we get into the numbers, a few honorable mentions deserve recognition. Daniel Cormier, a phenomenal all-around fighter, but when your main rivals are Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic multiple times, your betting odds will never be one-sided. Kamaru Usman, dominant at welterweight, but the division was so deep that even as champion, his line stayed relatively balanced. Alex Pereira, one of the most dangerous strikers in MMA history. However, nearly every fight he has had has been against elite competition, keeping his averages near even. And Cain Velasquez, when healthy, he was arguably the best heavyweight alive. Unfortunately, long layoffs and injuries limited his statistical sample, though his peak performances were incredible. At number 10, Ilia Topuria. Ilia's rise has been extraordinary. Early in his UFC career, oddmakers viewed him as evenly matched, nothing special. Then he started dismantling contenders, and Vegas quickly adjusted. By the time he faced Charles Oliveira, he closed around minus 425, a number reserved for proven champions. Topuria is calm, technical, and powerful beyond his size. At just 27 years old, he's already earned the reputation of being a fighter you simply don't bet against. Number 9, Anderson Silva. From 2006 to 2012, Anderson Silva redefined dominance. He closed as a minus 500 to minus 900 favorite in fight after fight, often making top-tier opponents look helpless. Later career losses to Weidman, Bisping, and Adesanya pulled down his lifetime average, but during his prime, Silva was the definition of certainty. Vegas didn't see him as risky. They saw him as inevitable. Number 8, Israel Adesanya. His technical mastery earned the confidence of oddmakers almost immediately. Between 2019 and 2022, he averaged between minus 400 and minus 600 across multiple title defenses. Even after the Strickland loss, his career average sits at minus 305. That's roughly a 75% implied chance to win every time he fought. Adesanya's poise, precision, and ability to control range made him one of the most statistically trusted strikers of the modern era. Number 7, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib's early fights were closely lined, but once he hit his championship stride, the odds were never close again. From Barboza onward, he consistently closed at around minus 400 and beyond. He retired undefeated, never dropped, never outgrappled, never outfought. His final average, minus 317, ties him with our next fighter, and both exemplify dominance. Number 6, Tom Aspinall. Heavyweights are supposed to be unpredictable. One mistake, one punch, and everything changes. But Tom Aspinall is rewriting that narrative. He's fast, calculated, and technical in ways few heavyweights have ever been. Vegas already rates him at minus 317 on average, and heading into his next bout against Cyril Gane, a former interim champion and elite striker, Aspinall is currently between minus 345 and minus 420. That's remarkable for a heavyweight matchup of this caliber. He's making one of the sport's most volatile divisions feel almost predictable. Number 5, Georges St. Pierre. GSP was the original definition of reliability. He didn't overwhelm opponents with power, he dismantled them systematically. From 2007 to 2013, he rarely closed below minus 400. His fights weren't about whether he'd win, they were about how few mistakes he'd make while doing it. For nearly a decade, GSP was the most trusted parlay anchor in MMA. Number 4, Jon Jones. He's one of 3 fighters on this list who has never closed as the underdog. Even in competitive matchups against Gustafsson, Cormier, or Reyes, Vegas never shifted away from him. Against Cyril Gane, he actually opened as a slight underdog, but by fight week, the money had poured in his direction. He closed around minus 189 and went on to finish Gane in 2 minutes. Whether at light heavyweight or heavyweight, Vegas has consistently trusted Jones to find a way to win. Number 3, Demetrious Johnson. Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson might be the most statistically underappreciated champion ever. For nearly a decade, he closed between minus 600 and minus 1000 in most of his fights. Even after his loss to Cejudo, his overall average remained at minus 446. Vegas stopped treating his fights as competitive events and started treating them as foregone conclusions. Quietly, methodically, Demetrious Johnson became a near guarantee. Number 2, Khamzat Chimaev. His numbers are almost unbelievable, both in betting markets and inside the cage. He's had fewer than 15 UFC fights, yet his average closing line sits at minus 474. That means Vegas has viewed him as an 83% favorite every single time he's fought. And the stats back it up in stunning fashion. After his first 2 UFC bouts, he had outlanded his opponents in significant strikes 83-1. That's not dominance, that's complete control. Fast forward to his championship win over Dricus du Plessis, and he finished the fight with a 529-45 advantage in total strikes landed. Even against elite competition like Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman, Khamzat has never once entered as the underdog. Explosive, efficient, and relentless, Khamzat doesn't just win, he overwhelms you. And Vegas knows it. And at number 1, Islam Makhachev. Statistically, the most dominant fighter in UFC history. Since his debut, he has never opened or closed as the underdog. Minus 835 versus Moicano, minus 450 versus Poirier, minus 260 versus Volkanovski. Every fight reinforces what the odds already suggest. Islam doesn't just win, he exceeds expectations. His composure, precision, and control have made him the ultimate constant in a sport built on unpredictability. At minus 516 on average, Makhachev stands alone as the most trusted name in modern MMA. So, there it is. Not a GOAT list, not a debate, but a data-backed story of UFC dominance. Vegas odds don't measure legacy or excitement, they measure confidence. And across decades of fighters, these are the athletes the odd makers trusted the most. If you enjoyed this analytical perspective, leave a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more evidence-based fight breakdowns right here on Clutch Finisher. The numbers don't lie, but the odds tell the truth.